Hello everyone, Star Baby Homestead here, and you see an unhappy Cassie who is tethered to the back porch because someone decided that she needed to break out of the yard and go chase our neighbor's chickens, which is a no-no because we get eggs from those chickens. So don't know what she would do to them, but we don't want to find out, do we, Cassie? So Miss Thing is not going to be joining me in the garden and running wild because she needs a little bit of discipline. So here we are at the beginning of April. It's probably like the second week of April now. I think it's like the 9th or the 10th. And the garden is just starting to explode in color. Right now, as you can see my trellis here, every single one of these branches have like little baby grapes on them. And I'm so excited because that's a lot, you guys. Every single one of these have grapes on them. This is the Pink Reliance from Gurney's that I ordered my first time with them. But this is like the very first thing that started popping in and budding. There's buds that are still going to come out. So I'm interested to see how big this vine is going to get. But let's start the garden tour. So I've put down black plastic over here because I was just overwhelmed by the sheer number of weeds. And it was getting to be a bit much. But if you remember my previous video, I planted my watermelons over here so that the base of the watermelons could stay in the shade of the shed, and then the vines could just just grow out and tendril all along here. So same plan this year. So as opposed to having to fight weeds growing in and amongst my watermelon vines, they're just going to be growing on top of this plastic, which is going to keep them nice and warm, and the coolness of the shade of the shed will keep the roots cool. And which is according to the millennial gardener, I used actually the method. This was his I found out this information from watching his video. I'm not sure where the original came from. Maybe it came from him, but I do want to give kudos to those I have learned things from. And so far last year, I had some really nice sized watermelon. It was very prolific. I only lost maybe a couple due to bottom end rot or blossom rot. So let me go back to this grapevine because I wanted to give you guys like a close-up of these little grapes. Aren't they cute? Oh my gosh, look at all of this. See here? And like I said, every single one of these have grape buds on them. Now my neighbor, he had already told me before that it was difficult for him to grow grapes because of the birds. And I believe it because we have a lot of birds out here. But I'm going to figure out something. Maybe I'll put a fake hawk or something up here, a stuffed hawk. Maybe that'll keep the birds away until they figure out that, yeah, that doesn't work. But so what I'm doing now, I am out here. Everything is still bare, you guys. The onions are still, the onions are still here. I have the parsnips that are starting to come up. They're breaking the surface. We had our last frost, fingers crossed, okay? This is Georgia. We could have a frost in May. But hopefully that was the last one. So I have taken all of the fleece off except for the fleece over here, which is light blocking because I have my broccoli seedlings under there, and I'm probably going to be putting out the cauliflower seedlings towards the end of this month. But in the meantime, I don't want them to get shocked because, of course, we've gone from 20-degree weather here in Georgia immediately to like 80-something degree weather. So, yay! This is what we expect. So the bed that's empty over here still has a few chard left. And I'm going to be growing tomatoes and more chard in here. I'll probably throw in some marigolds and some basil. but I also plan on putting basil just in various places along the garden. I have these beds that are on the side lining the edge of the garden full of weeds, but I'm slowly but surely taking care of that. But today I'm going to be planting a hydrangea and a clematis in because I painted, oh, let me show you. I forgot that little tidbit. I painted the fence. Finally, you know I've been talking about this for a while, and I really enjoy how the black is looking. So as soon as I get some flowers up, and I'm gonna actually need to paint this side next so I can start doing more vines, especially if this grape continues to grow. I want it to be able to branch out, but I also want the aesthetically pleasing look of having a nice painted fence. So I'm probably going to be taking care of this before it rains next. So hopefully I might be able to get through it this weekend, but I'm not doing all of this. I just want to get the garden set up, and then we'll tackle the rest of the property later. But for now, yes, I'm very pleased about that. So here we have our salad bed. You can see some of the lettuce that I have been harvesting is starting to bolt. But I do have seeds that I had sprinkled coming up here. This is red sales. And these over here, this is the Gurney's Just Lettuce blend. And you guys, I got tired of dealing with trying to put them in potting trays. So I just scattered them, and I'm like, you know what, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But luckily I still have some lettuce over here. Here's that beautiful speckled butterhead. I love that. Its seeds are extremely hard to grow. And if you're wondering what these weird these parsnips are growing, I sprinkled these seeds. You guys remember I did a second planting and none of them came up, but now they're deciding to come up now. So I've got random parsnips just growing where I don't want them to grow. But you know what? Life is perfect. It's food, and we love parsnips, so I'm going to take it. The carrots are still flourishing. As you can see, we've got plenty of those. We've been just picking them. This new Karuta type that I got from Heirloom Seeds, Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, they produce a lot of top and really nice meaty carrots, but they're sweet and they're tender and they're kind of rounded at the bottom. And sometimes you pull the ones that have so much top to them and there's a small carrot attached to it. But I also heavily sowed these. So I didn't really thin them. I kind of thin them when we want baby carrots, but not really. I mean, you guys, we're just out here living, you know, just playing it by ear. And yeah, we just pick as we go. The arugula's coming up nicely here. I've got my turnips here. They've all been multi-sown. I may go in and thin them, and maybe I won't. And then German giant radishes. They're also been multi-sown. And, okay, let me put this down here. Hold on. Let's do a little bit of an adjustment. So here, I've got my sweet Cripolini mushrooms, sweet Italian onions, and broccoli in here. So I kind of let my matcha go to seed. I didn't even really harvest it. Maybe I'll still harvest it to see if it's not bitter, but it's in here with these carrots that probably need to come out. And okay, check it out, guys. I just noticed the caterpillars. Look at this. Does anybody know what kind of caterpillar this is? Okay. There's there's a couple of them. Is that swallowtail? I don't remember, but Wow. All right. There's whatever this is. Is this the same type? Interesting. Okay, well, yeah, spring is totally in effect now because I'm starting to see just weird bugs. I've never seen these caterpillars before, guys. This is like what, our third year with this garden. These over here don't have any at all. So it seems to be funny that the ones that were covered have the caterpillars. Interesting. Well, munch away, guys. As long as you're not hurting my roots, I don't care. They can eat the tops all day long. As long as they don't eat my broccoli. But it looks like something's been eating on my broccoli seedlings, but I figured out what that was. That was slugs. So it's probably now time to start laying out slug bait if you haven't already. The onions are looking great. So I am pleased with how this is going. So check out the strawberries. You guys, I am so happy. So I think I did a video on thinning these. And as you can see, they've come back so lush and lovely. It's amazing. But not only that, if you can see in here, I've got strawberries galore. This bed is just teeming with strawberries. So if you're growing strawberries, if you don't know, now is the time where you really got to up your fertilizer game. I use a fish fertilizer. Hello, rooster. I use a fish fertilizer. Oh, here's one. We've already started eating them, guys. Okay, we've already started. But as you can see, I was in the process of covering the strawberry bed because once word is out, all the vermin and birds and everything are going to be in this bed. But I thinned this bed out and gave some to the neighbor, and it still has come back in full force. And the reason why this end is looking just a little bit thinner was because I took out that lavender bush, which looks extremely sad, but it's coming back. It's starting to bloom. Was in this bed, but it was taking over. So I decided to go ahead and just pull it. But yeah, look at all these strawberries. There's tons of them in there. And these are, what are they called? Early day, one day. You guys, I can't remember anything. But I think they're going to produce all at once. I hope it'll be a little bit more gradual because that's a lot of strawberries. I mean, we're down for eating them. So yeah, plenty of strawberries. This is what, the second year that this bed's been established, and it's just come back better than ever. So here's my cabbage bed. It's doing pretty good. I've got one that's ready to harvest. We still are working on all of that Savoy cabbage that we had through the winter. And I've got some that are just starting to head. These are early, nope, they are late flat Dutch head. These are some of the tough kind that store really well. You probably have to, boil them up really nice or make kraut out of them. But we eat a lot of cabbage. And also what I have done with this bed, I have thrown in some red cabbage seeds. I just threw them in there. There was no sort of planned planting. Wherever there was a bare space, that's where I have sprinkled. And so far, it looks like the seedlings are doing very well. The blueberries are now starting to plump up and ripen. There's no more flowers. The bees had at them early. So before the birds get wind, you can see they're now starting to change. We've got to go ahead and get these covered, which is why, like I said, I've got all of my trusty nets ready to go. This bed right here, that's going to go opposite of the cabbage, rutabaga are going to go here. Let me get my shadow out. Rutabaga are going to go here. Right now I've got spring onions growing in there. And I'm always constantly growing spring onions because we eat a lot of them. This entire bed over here is dedicated to onions. There's spring onions, there's Texas sweet early onions, there's regular white onions in here, so a lot of onions. I'm most likely going to put some purple bok choy in here. Right now I only have about 2 plants that are that I'm working with. They just didn't germinate all that well, so hold on. Cassie, stop digging! Stop it! She's tearing up my side garden, guys. You know what? Let me go see. Oh, Lord. You guys know what it's like having a puppy. They're constantly tearing up stuff. They're constantly getting into stuff. What are you doing, ma'am? What are you doing? Huh? Don't you tear up my stuff. Go on, go back to the shade. Go back to the darkness where you belong. No, that's terrible. She's sweet. She just needs more training. So, but don't we all? So here we have the pea bed. There's going to be cucumbers going on the opposite end of that. And they're reaching, so that's great. They're probably going to take off. We're going to have a lot of rain supposedly this spring, according to Farmer's Almanac. And it hasn't been wrong so far. So it's supposed to be like a warm, wet spring. So the garden will absolutely love that, but so will pests. So you guys keep your garden clean. As I say, this big pile of like old cabbage leaves that I've piled up right here. But that's because I was taking them out of the bed. So that's going to make great compost. But clean around your plants so that vermin can't hide, so that you'll keep from getting any sort of rot, any sort of diseases that can take your plants out. Because rain will definitely, as much as it nourishes your plants, once it comes in contact with the soil, you might have some microbes. It's not that bad if you use your own compost, but if you're just starting out, you know, and you're buying your compost, you don't know what's in that soil or what's in that compost. And I mean, we're all up to Mother Nature's mercy here. So we have diseases and pests that will wipe out whole crops. So just keep that in mind as you were heading into this warm, wet weather of spring. Even though there's nice breezes, there's still a lot of moisture, so just try to keep your areas clean. So, like I said, over here is where I'm going to start putting in my flower bed. And I'm most likely going to also have vegetables in here because I want to utilize as much space as possible. So right about in here, I plan on planting my red curry squash, and then just let it vine all along this whole line of along the line of the fence. And I'm actually thinking about growing it on the fence to keep the fruit up off of the ground. So I might train it just directly onto this fence. And now that I'm saying it, I think that's best to get it up off of the ground. My arugula has gone to seed and it's blooming. And you guys, what I like to do, I did it with my cabbage when they went to seed. I know you're supposed to save seed, but I don't know if you've seen brassica seeds, but they are extremely tiny. And I haven't gotten on saving brassica seeds yet. It just seems kind of like a lot. I need to do more research. Let me know how you save seeds if you do for cabbage. I'd rather just buy them and not be bothered because I just don't have the setup for it right now. But these flowers are beautiful, and I like to cut the pretty yellow flowers that come from blooming brassicas and put them in vases in the house. It's beautiful. They look like wildflowers, and this works just as well. These pretty little white flowers that come off of your arugula. So anyway, I'm going to be pulling these because once again, I'm going to be sticking some flowers in there. So back over here, blueberries are being covered. Here is my garlic. Garlic and the shallots are doing very well. I haven't poked around in there to see how the garlic's progressing, but these overwintered. I have a whole video that I'm still working on to show the progression of my garlic. And so I'm going to go from the time I popped it in the dirt until the time that I harvest it. So stay tuned for that. And this is my first time growing shallots. So not sure when they're ready, but I'm wondering if they follow the same premise with onions. When the tops die and fall over, they're ready to be harvested. So also, these cute little things here are beets. So I've stuck the beets down in here with the shallots because I want them to be protected from pests. And hopefully the birds won't notice them, but if need be, I will cover them. But I don't want to inhibit the growth. I need to be able to see these tops. This is my second time growing garlic, and I planted way more than I did last year because you just can never have too much garlic, in my opinion. Now, let's go to the middle bed here. Lavender bush was relocated. There is my Brussels sprout. I went ahead and took the top on it because that plant is about expired. There's a few more small Brussels sprouts on there, but at this point it's just so sad and defeated, and it didn't really get all that tall. But pretty good amount of Brussels sprouts that we got off of it. I had to go buy those because the seed that I had just did not produce. So when in doubt, you guys, there's no shame in it. Go to the store, pick you up some plants that have already been started, and just nurture them. You're still growing them and you're still doing whatever you need to. But in the meantime, you know, I've just kind of left them in there because they'll probably just keep growing. So yeah, it's still food. So I'll leave it there until it just is not worth the time and effort to keep looking after it. I've got some dahlias coming. I planted 4 in this bed. So there's going to be dahlias to go. There's another one doing pretty well. And then my tiny kale that overwintered is now starting to explode. So there's another dahlia coming up. I've got the cages around them because they get pretty tall, and it's windy out here, so I expect them to take a little bit of a beating depending on how windy it is. I've got one that is just not coming up, but the root was a little sad on it, so we'll see what happens. But Plenty of kale. Now, I planted this kale last year and it started going to seed as soon as it got warm. So I have another tray of kale inside. I know you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of kale, but I love this kale and it's beautiful. And when in doubt, it was nothing to grow, and I can always just give them away if we have too many. But I'll probably have this kale all over the garden just because they're a beautiful ornamental plant and they're just absolutely delicious. That one sad little chard plant is still hanging on, doing well. And I kind of split up that mother lavender plant and spread it all out. So yeah, that's part of it there. I don't know if it's gonna make it. It's looking kind of sad, but we'll see. So I moved my grow tubs over here because this is where I'm going to be putting the potatoes. So I'm gonna throw some potatoes in here, maybe some sweet potatoes, all along the perimeter here. This is best to have just all the vining stuff just to be hanging out down here instead of taking up space in the garden. And then, like I said, I don't have any plans. I'm still working on it, but I want this whole entire area here. Look at these sad Brussels sprouts, guys. They did nothing. Nothing. It was not great in the Brussels sprout game this year. So we shall try again and see what happens. So I'm still expanding this walkway here, laying down mulch. Yeah, it's just a work in progress. I've got to do something because we get a lot of drainage that comes down from the top there, and it kind of washes away my soil, as you can see over there. And I need a place for it to go. So I don't know, I may have to build like a French drain or something to run you know, through the garden so I don't keep having that issue. But so far the asparagus has been a wonderful producer, and I've let you know, I'm just kind of letting them go to seed as they go to fern as they need to, and you know, I'll harvest any new ones, but you don't want to pick them all completely like your first year. So or we got 4-year plants, so after picking what's been coming up, like, you know, every other spear or so, I'll leave it alone so that it can grow and produce all its beautiful ferns so it can come back even better next year. But I'm completely happy. It's amazing growing your own asparagus. This particular brand, oh gosh, what is it? Jersey Night brand. I got the 4-year plants from Gurney's. So after that first year, we're ready to go. And it's amazing. It's sweet. Like, the spears are long. They're sweet even over a foot. So a lot of food. I'm actually wondering if I should plant some more just to have even more for next year. But it's just hubby and I, and we're not sharing, guys. And we're not sharing. But I can see why people plant a ton of asparagus because it's so well worth it. So I'm actually maybe considering buying some more and have them take up this side of the fence. So we shall see. But right now, that is pretty much it that I have. This is April, like I said, April 2nd, and even though the garden is, you know, it's just starting, pretty soon, you know, guys, it's go time now, but it's really going to be go time once you start, you know, maintaining and putting in succession plantings. And let me know what you're growing. What does your April garden look like? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, keep me posted on what you're doing. Oh, let me show you guys the peach trees. My husband built a fire the other night, and if you're wondering why our grass is so long, it's because our lawnmower is broke again. It's broken again, and we're trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And in the meantime, yeah, it's like traipsing through the wilderness like grass out here. But look at all of the peaches, okay? Now, you remember in my previous videos, you have to go through and thin. So after I prune the heck out of this tree, which you can see how much I have pruned it, there's still a lot of peaches, even more than what we can use and give away. But I am really pleased about it. The other one over here that looks especially diseased last year, I'm not so sure about this branch here. I might have to cut it off. It's not looking great, is it? But we've got some peaches on here. I really don't expect a lot from this tree because it's been struggling. It was not cared for very well. But we've got some peaches growing here. And I've been spraying these weekly. I've been spraying these weekly for black spot. And that is the ruination of our cedar, our beautiful cedar. We're still breaking it down. We burned a lot of piles, and we've got someone who's going to come out and hopefully haul some of this wood away, because we don't have a chainsaw right now to kind of chop up all of this. But some of it's been useful in like plugging holes in the fence to keep the chickens from coming on our side of the fence because Cassie will attack them. So that's it for now. I would show you guys the pear trees in the front, but I have mutilated one of them again. And the other one, I'm just spraying them. I'm still treating them for fire blight. And hopefully this spray, I can at least get a few pears that don't look gross. But there you have it, people. April spring tour at Star Baby Homestead. I hope you all are doing well. Be well and be blessed, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.